Sometimes the face of God is seen in the whole world. For example, I've heard from others that they can see God in others. They said, Alan Watts, for example, said at a time that at times it flickers in and out, me seeing the face of God in others and in the whole world. Like, we're stuck in this creation together. Even Jesus wants us to see each other in each other's faces. He wants us to see that we are the tabernacle of the Most High. Also, that we contain the gift of the Holy Spirit. And that we have the Father in any way that we ask. Because what you ask for, you shall receive. If you've said in the back of your mind while looking at this form, I want to see Jesus in him, or I want to see God in him, or I want to see God through his camera, or I want to see God where he was aiming. This form is rising and passing away. And if we let go of it right now, it wouldn't come back. Let's do it. A really rare merit found. That's my topic switcher. So, really rare merit found, like, okay, I'm gonna come up with plans that are, it's gonna lead to micro disasters and cosmoclimatic events that will serve to see the future forever. Like, a silly plan, like, I'm going to build a ginormous wooden cross and I'm going to haul it down the street. Not only am I going to haul it down the street, but I'm going to do it because it's a merit. So you know, I didn't meditate on this part very hard, but we have an internal merit license built into us. You ask, I'm going to need a lot of merit, Jesus. Where's the first place to begin? And we start searching the mind and using creative and crafty behavior to come up with ideas. We step through a portal of intelligence at every step we take. And just as life is rising and falling, from one moment to the next, you could say, that man is fully enlightened. And then you could say, he's partially enlightened. And just as the creativity of an enlightened person could bring anything that he asks for in his mind into creation, it is so also with the unenlightened person, because they're both standing from the same platform. Let's say, for example, in a future life, you stepped out of who you were being. You let go of who you thought you were. And then, after a long time of trying to constantly rebuke yourself to let go of who you thought you were being or think you were being, you start to notice just how long you've been suffering for trying to let go of who you are, who you imagine yourself to be, and the image of self, or the rare mirror of self. You see, what we call a person is nothing but who is behind the mask. You could say, in a funny example, let's say I made direct eye contact with someone across the street, and I played in the residual dance of resilience, and I looked them dead in their eyes. And in my heart, I said, I know who I am. Are they going to show up? Do they know who they are? So I would ceaselessly stand here and look them straight in their eyes. But that mirror in itself is going to have some microcosmoplatic effect on the whole world, because that person is going to look at me, then they're going to look away from me. Then they're going to start thinking of forms to fix what just happened. They're going to think of extreme forms. Like, should I dial 911? Or, that guy's really got me thinking in the back of my head. He's really got me thinking, why was he looking at me like that? And it would go on and on and on. Endless forms passing away. But if we fell, which we're returning to a form that we were using, which means that it arose again. If that person had a subtle human behavior of being one with God, one walking with God, and they also memorized the form of seeing God's countenance in one another, or seeing God in the creation of one another, if we locked eyes dead directly and we both whipped our smile across our face, we could be friends forever. But of course, the first person to look away would lose the game. But I've heard it said, was said by Ram Dass, don't play around with me. I know who you are. And he was saying that in such a beautiful, honest way. Like, if you walked up to a human and said, I see the face of God in you, they're going to have an unbelievably difficult time repenting of this. How are they going to turn away from that? It's like we've all been so lost in the game that we forgot what our basic material is. We're all crafted from the same substance. We're all stuck in the same creation. And we shall not leave. We're stuck here forever. And it becomes like we're so dedicated to our roles or who we think that we are being, that we forget all the forms that we were used to and who we thought we were. For example, an aunt could be for 60 years thinking of her grandchildren and constantly running the same measures of thoughts that through her head. These are my grandchildren. These are the things that I like to do. Like an endless amount of the same form repeating itself. And that person for a whole 80 or 90 year lifetime could never snap out of, wake up, realize who they have been, that they've been acting, that they've been putting on a giant act, that they have an opportunity to fall away from existence, to become a nobody, to become someone that is oneself, or not also non-self, any of the words that we use to try to get around any of these lucrative topics, lucrative and interesting, desirable topics. But in the divine Leela, the divine dance, the divine game, which life is just a dance. You play the two-step in so many different situations. You could play the two-step in a conversation, the two-step on the dance floor, or the two-step at the skating rink. But we become so fallen away and unreminded of one's personal presence, which can be worked on and increased through techniques like meditation or ceaseless prayer or picking up religious devotions. And we've lost the presence of others. You stare at a man, and sometimes you look at him in the context of extremely useless information that's creating a lot of suffering. Like that man is walking. But that's a coincidence. Like, hey, God bless you. I mean, that example works just fine. We were thinking those constantly vain thoughts that were unimportant and was not being received in what is one's individual karma. No way. One individual was present when he overstepped the bounds of karma. I've heard it been reported to me that it's simply a sin to mention the word karma. I've heard in a different context that the wisest man knows no difference between any word, any ever such so word, or any ever such so possibility. life was life was a desperate possibility that we all had a sure shot of hitting or receiving. And some of us made it, and some of us didn't. But we all truly gave it a try. Think about the unending possibilities of a lifetime. So, if you don't, this could be my ride. Going to Garden City. It is. All right. Goodbye.